Every single day, a massive amount of solar energy makes the 93 million mile journey from the sun, eventually striking the Earth. If you ask most people what happens next, they'll tell you our planet simply absorbs that sunlight, using up its energy to power the weather, grow our food, and keep us warm. But the physical measurements tell a different story. This chart compares the total amount of energy entering our atmosphere against what leaves it. Historically, the Earth has radiated the exact same amount of thermal energy back into deep space that it receives from the sun. The ledger is perfectly balanced. If the energy going out equals the energy coming in, then we aren't actually keeping any of it. So what invisible engine is actually powering the global weather systems, the ocean currents, and every living organism? The answer requires a strict rule of thermodynamics. Energy itself never vanishes. You can't use it up. What the Earth actually consumes is the concentration of that energy. We take in a tightly clustered packet of useful energy, extract the physical work we need from it, and then discard the exact same amount of energy in a scattered, less useful form. Missing this distinction hides the actual mechanics of our planet. It obscures the singular, irreversible physical law that drives every action in the universe. To understand how work gets done, we have to look at how energy moves. This schematic illustrates an ideal heat engine, designed by the French physicist Sadi Carnot. For any mechanical work to happen, you must have a physical contrast, a concentrated hot source on one side and an empty cold sink on the other. Heat flows from the hot bar into the gas chamber. The gas expands, which pushes the piston up. But to complete the cycle and reset the piston, that heat can't just stay in the chamber. It has to be dumped out into the cold bar. The physical movement is completely reliant on the heat traveling from a crowded state to an empty one. Reviewing this exact theoretical engine, Lord Kelvin realized something specific. The only way to make this machine 100% efficient would require the cold bar to completely lack heat. This gave us the absolute zero temperature scale. But absolute zero is physically impossible to reach in practice. In our real world, physical engines always have friction. As the piston moves, heat inevitably bleeds out into the metal walls of the cylinder, the surrounding air, and the axle of the flywheel. Once that kinetic energy leaves the concentrated hot source and spreads into the environment, it cannot be gathered back up. The total amount of energy remains exactly the same, but because it is scattered, it is permanently unusable for future work. Physicists Rudolf Clausius and Ludwig Boltzmann codified this inescapable physical loss as entropy. It is the precise statistical measurement of energy spreading out among atoms, dictating exactly how and why systems move toward equilibrium. This diagram tracks discrete energy packets within two solid objects touching each other. Because atoms are constantly vibrating, the packets bounce randomly across the atomic lattice. While a packet could theoretically jump from a cold solid back into a hot one, the mathematical configurations heavily favor an even spread. There are simply hundreds of thousands of more ways for the energy to be mixed than to be separated. When you scale this up to everyday objects containing trillions of atoms, the math becomes absolute. The probability of thermal energy randomly concentrating itself into a single hotspot is so mathematically low that it simply never happens. This means that energy strictly moves outward. This scales all the way up to our own planet. The Earth is essentially a massive Carnot engine. The sun acts as our concentrated hotbar, and the freezing vacuum of deep space acts as our absolute cold sink. This animation shows the exact physical exchange happening above our heads. For every single concentrated high-energy photon the Earth intercepts from the sun, the planet does some work and then emits that exact same energy by breaking it apart into 20 widely dispersed low-energy photons. The Earth survives specifically because it is an open system. Our entire ecosystem operates by constantly intercepting a steady stream of highly concentrated low-entropy energy, extracting the momentum, and immediately dumping the high-entropy waste into the void. In thermodynamic terms, biological life is highly efficient machinery. We are mechanisms designed to aggressively accelerate the dissipation of energy. A plant growing leaves, a root system fracturing through the soil, an animal digesting food, or a human simply taking a breath. Every biological action is the mechanical conversion of concentrated, low-entropy fuels into scattered, high-entropy heat. We speed up the spread. If you trace all of this concentrated energy backward in time, measuring lower and lower entropy, you reach the Big Bang. Physicists call this the past hypothesis. The early universe was a state of extreme low entropy because gravity was actively pulling uniform clouds of gas into tight, dense, immensely powerful clumps. So if gravity clumped things together in the past, where is the ultimate physical sink for the universe's entropy today? The answer lies in supermassive black holes. Stephen Hawking's mathematical work proved that black holes are not completely dark. They possess a measurable temperature and emit radiation, meaning they contain nearly all of the measurable entropy in the entire observable cosmos. The one-way forward movement of time is defined exclusively by this physical flow. We experience the arrow of time simply because energy is moving relentlessly from a highly concentrated past toward a fully dissipated future. We can project this unbroken chain of physical interactions forward to its absolute limit, the heat death of the universe. In the extremely distant future, after the last black hole has evaporated, the energy of the cosmos will finally be perfectly, evenly spread. In a state of maximum entropy, there are no hot bars and no cold sinks. All physical momentum stops. Without the transfer of energy from hot to cold, nothing happens, making it entirely impossible to distinguish whether time is moving forward or backward. The universe ends exactly as featureless and completely smooth as it began. Physical complexity simply cannot exist at either extreme of the timeline. Everything interesting happens in the transient middle phase. It is only during this active, turbulent period of heat transferring to cold that structures have the physical opportunity to form. Like bright milk colliding with dark tea, the intricate patterns only exist in the brief moment of mixing. The Earth, our oceans, the biosphere, and human consciousness itself are magnificent, temporary structures. We only exist because we live inside the inescapable friction of a universe rushing towards its end.